This is Smoking Out the Closet. Now, here are your hosts, Alex and Rayven Greer.
Hey, it's Rayven. I wanted to announce 2 new affiliate programs that Smoking Out the Closet is now a part of. First, I would like to announce a Pittsburgh local company, The Hemp Co., with 2 E's in The. They offer hemp-derived products including Delta 8 and Delta 9 gummies, vape cartridges, and pre-rolls, HHC vape cartridges, and sustainably used devices and products. All products are made with hemp bioplastic for all your cannabis device needs. And every product is third-party lab tested, DEA certified, and Farm Bill compliant. If you're looking to visit them in person, you can visit them at 20280 Route 19, Number 3, Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania, 16066, or online at theehempco.com. Be sure to use SOTC20 at checkout for 20% off on us. And we're also wildly excited about our partnership with Blazy Susan. They offer their iconic Blazy Susan rolling tray, as well as papers and cones in unbleached hemp, their famous pink, and their brand new purple colors. Follow our affiliate link in the show notes and use Blazy10, BLAZY10, for 10% off on checkout. Now, on with the episode. Hi, I'm Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
I am Alex. I use they, them pronouns.
And welcome back to another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
For those of you who are new or just joining us, we are a queer podcast, pun intended, that talks about cannabis, the LGBT community, and everything in between. Everything in between and beyond. God, I am so high for this one. So this was your week to pick. So you introduced.
So the strain we have today is New Jersey Gas Man, from Kind Tree. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. This flower sits at like 18.5% THC, has 0.5% CBGA. The top terps on this guy is going to be beta-myrcene at 0.314 and limonene at 0.115. Beta-caryophyllene is at 0.061 and everything else is underneath that. I am so sorry. I'm losing my voice. I don't know what is wrong with me. Maybe my voice is dropping. Maybe that's what's happening.
We also just used a bong.
Oh yeah, we did rip the bong. Oh god, I've been ripping the bong all day. That's probably why I have no voice left. I should have thought this through today.
Yeah.
Because when you were at work, I was ripping the bong. But
It's from the bong.
It's from the bong. It was nice enough to sit out there and do it, so I wanted to.
Yeah.
But this is all right. I don't know. I've had this conversation with you before. I don't know whether it's probably the testosterone that is making my tolerance go up.
Possibly, yeah.
But like, I don't feel a whole lot of much from this.
I don't feel
really
a whole lot anymore either.
Yeah, I even smoked like twice as much as you did. I smoked a whole nother bowl out there while you were getting stuff set up for the podcast, and it's not. I'm not happy with it, unfortunately, because some of Kind Tree stuff can be pretty nice, but that's not very kind, right there.
So what would you rate it?
Probably like a 2.5.
Yeah.
I am not a huge fan. It didn't do a whole lot. Looks pretty. Like, I got some good pictures of it.
You know, I'd agree with you, 2.5 on that one. Mostly just because, I don't know, just the method we used to use, like the consumption method this time, or what. I just really didn't get any flavor from it.
I didn't either.
But also, it's kind of just super weak. Sorry, squeaking, trying to get a hold of it. It's just, I don't know. And, well, here, let me actually open it to actually talk about the flower, too, because I feel like the cure on this wasn't that great. From what I've heard when you were grinding it up.
Yeah, it was sticking in my grinder a little bit, not super
like
great.
A little sticking is good, but this just feels like, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but
Yeah,
it's just crunchy.
it's very crunchy. I had some stuff earlier today that was almost powdery when I broke it apart.
Oh no,
like styrofoam. Like but you know when it was packaged? It was packaged last month, December 15th. When was this packaged?
September 20th, 2022.
Okay.
I would also like to point out that brings me up to a little topic, not a full one for the episode, just a quick short one. For those of you in the Pennsylvania market, keep an eye out on Calypso products because they have been hitting our shelves again. And some of them are things that when they had that mold outbreak, they didn't fully release and they had to get retested and everything. They expire March of 2023.
Yeah,
we just got them fucking in last week.
Pretty cheap shit.
Yeah.
Gonna be dropping here soon.
So keep an eye out on that. If you're one of those people who are like, oh, you can't have it past 6 months, don't buy Calypso shit right now. Wait a few months.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry. I thought I turned this. I'm still fucking with this phone. Week 2 of having this new phone, and I'm still not quite sure how to operate it.
You're fine. Do you want to bring up your topic?
Yes, I do want to bring up my topic. Okay, there. Now my phone is on silent. So I was working up an intake the other day and checking people in, and we had an issue with a patient. Now, I don't know if you've seen this, and no one at work that I had talked to knew about this yet.
I knew about this a couple days ago. I forgot to tell you.
They're redesigning the Pennsylvania medical marijuana IDs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, cool. Maybe they won't look like your fucking driver's license or state identification card. Nope, they're making them exactly like the real IDs.
Yeah.
Which is still fucking confusing. But that's not the worst part. Are you ready for the worst part of this? So I had a patient come in and we couldn't scan her card in. And I was like, well, and I was training somebody and they were like, what do you think's going on? Do you have any idea? And I was like, well, I can take a stab at it and I don't know how to fix it, but it looks like they didn't test the barcode on the new cards before they sent them out. So the barcodes are not scannable in MJ and the patients don't come up. And that's a huge issue. And I called MJ and they basically told me, not in these exact terms, but to go fuck myself or break the law because we're supposed to scan in the cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
well, just a little side thing so people listening. MJ is the company and the program that the state of Pennsylvania and a couple other states use for their medical programs. It's worse than Oracle from Java. Let's just say that. So
I called them and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. I have somebody with one of the redesigned Pennsylvania IDs that look like the real IDs. I can't scan them in. It's just telling me that there's no customer portal or profile or patient portal or whatever, right? I can't remember how the error code was worded. And they were like, oh yeah, we know about this. And unfortunately, nobody even told them that they were doing this redesign on the fucking cards. They had no fucking idea. So they couldn't update their system, which that was just, why do you not talk to each other?
Mm-hmm.
An email takes 3 minutes.
Hey, big surprise. That's most of the government's issue.
And this is anything to do with Pennsylvania fucking state government.
Always
takes forever. Any government. So they were like, yeah, we know, we're aware of it, blah, 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 whatever. This is, of course, I had to call them back. I couldn't get through to them the first time. They hung up on me. It's the first time.
Yeah, probably because they're getting a bunch of calls from every fucking dispensary
and then I called them back and they told me this. And they were like, we're trying to figure it out as fast as we can. I was like, so you're telling me I need to send this person home? And they're like, yeah. Or, there's the numbers on the back of the cards. You can pull through the data and try to pull the numbers for the patient IDs. But I don't know how your company wants to do that. But because in my training, I know you're supposed to scan the cards in. And I'm like,
so
I'm not doing that, first of all.
Is there a way my store had a way to, or technically it was one of our sister locations. Do you want me to tell you what it is on the pod or off the pod?
Let's do it off the pod.
Okay.
Because I am not comfortable with this.
No, fair. It's still technically within compliance.
Okay.
It's just an extra fucking workaround.
For your company. For mine, I'm not sure how we did that. But I was the manager in charge at that time. My manager above me was there, but like she agreed with me entirely. I'm not fucking doing that. Also, it's going to take so much time and waste people's time. But then I had to be the bearer of bad news to this patient and say, hey, I'm very sorry, but I had called MJ Freeway, which is the program we use in the state to get you checked into dispensaries. And these new cards that you just got, this patient just got their card 3 days ago, 3 days prior to this incident. And I said, when they sent these out, they didn't print the right barcodes on it. I told her the whole thing, right? She's like, well, I was like, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. She's really understanding them. She's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And I said, you flip your card over, and you see that number on the back of your card? That's for the DOH. Call them and ask them what you're supposed to do, because they are the people who pushed these cards out and didn't make sure they worked. And then they're gonna have such a big fucking issue if they don't have it resolved by now, because this was like yesterday, I think it worked.
It wasn't resolved yet. As of today, it wasn't resolved.
If this keeps going, you're going to have so many people. Everybody has to renew their card every year. And you have, I don't know how many people every day probably getting new cards. If you're sending these out, you're going to have so many upset people.
To calculate how massive the amount of people there are in the PA medical program, there are 29 card holders in the state of Pennsylvania for every 500 residents.
Okay. Yeah, it's
a lot.
But if I have anybody else, that's what I'm going to tell them. Call the Department of Health.
I have the number here. Should we put
Absolutely,
it on the pod?
Put it on the podcast. Call the Department of Health if you or somebody that has their card is dealing with this.
So it's on the same page when you log in to get your card renewed and everything. The PA DOH MMP.custhelp.com. If you scroll at the bottom, it says Help Desk Contact. The phone number is 888-733-5595.
And we will put the number in the show notes.
Definitely put it in the show notes. Because that's fucking bullshit.
They need to get this fixed.
It's super obvious as a lack of communication on the DOH's side, because they made the announcement, I want to say, earlier in the week, and my pharmacist told us. And they're just like, keep an eye out for this because we're getting new cards and everything. It might not work. Well, it's not fucking working.
No. And I was thinking, this is not going to be an easy, just smooth transition. Plus, okay, I remembered I have to get my license renewed too. And I'm going to have to get one of those real IDs.
Yeah.
But, like, my card is up here in a couple months. If they don't have this fixed by then, it's going to be catastrophic. But, like, yeah, this is fucking nuts. And I hope the DOH gets overwhelmed with calls, because you know what they're going to have to do then?
You're going to have to fix it.
Yeah, you're going to have to fix it if you have people calling you every single day. And that's what I'm going to tell people.
Yeah.
And if anybody else who is listening to this podcast works in a dispensary in the state of Pennsylvania and you have this problem, tell your patients to call them.
And if you're a patient or a caregiver that is having this issue, call the fucking DOH. Is there anything you would add to that?
I just thought it was funny. I called it. Before I even called the Department of Health, I called what the problem was, is that their barcodes just don't fucking work. They didn't print the barcodes right for the program.
Is it okay if I start my next topic?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So there is an incoming Democratic congressman who has stated he's not swearing on the Bible. Representative-elect Robert Garcia will swear in on Tuesday, as of recording this, or the day he will be already sworn in by the time this episode drops, because it'll be earlier in the day. He has stated that he plans on swearing in on a copy of Superman #1. The OG one where he's lifting up the Oldsmobile, or I think it's a Plymouth Oldsmobile to be specific,
Heck yeah.
up to save the woman from getting hit by the car. He's also got a picture of his family and a copy of his citizen nationalization paperwork, like underneath that copy too. And it's not the first time we've had someone not swear in on a Bible. But it's the first time it's been a comic. And I just kind of want to bring that up because Garcia identifies as a queer immigrant or a gay immigrant. He's a gay man. His family moved from Peru, I believe, when he was very young, and he's grown up a pretty decent chunk of his life in the States. But he is an immigrant, and his family immigrated, and he wants to kind of be a voice for both the LGBTQIA plus community and immigrants, especially people of color who are immigrants and people of color in general. Now, with the swearing in thing, traditionally most have taken their oath on a Bible, but there is no legal precedent to say it has to be on a copy of the Bible. Because that would break separation of church and state.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one representative, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she was like one of the first Muslim Congress people to get sworn in. She did it on a copy of the Quran. There was a senator that did a copy of Arizona state law. And now we have someone who is swearing in on a copy of Superman. But Garcia stated that he feels like Superman is emblematic of the plight of all immigrants, especially ones that had to move from very unfavorable conditions in their home country. And sorry, my nose is all stuffy.
It's okay.
And I totally get that. Because of Superman's journey, it's very reminiscent of immigration, and also kind of it's of the time. Most of the comic creators, the great ones like Jack Kirby and all that, they were Jewish, and their family, if not they, immigrated to America to escape the horrors of the Second World War. And so that's why a lot of comics are the way they are, and the stories are the way they are. And so that is very, Superman's tale is very obvious. It's it's easy to be emblematic for immigrants because he is basically the story of an immigrant told by an immigrant.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. And the ironic part is I actually found this story scrolling on like a Christian news site.
Yeah. Oh.
And so many people were like, oh, see, the gays are mentally ill. They're swearing in on a comic book. Or, oh, then we can't trust this man with his word. He won't swear on a Bible. So my smart ass just basically put, wow, imagine that. Someone, actually separation of church and state. Wow, fucking imagine that. And of course, such an amazing way to show support for immigrants and everything, and to spread awareness of what fucking Superman's about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really frustrating. But I've been a troll all day online. I'm not gonna lie.
That's great. I love it. Troll them.
It's not just them too. I was on Twitter and shit too. Can I actually talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
So the Cannabis Patriot, who is another podcaster, basically made a tweet, and I'm trying to get to the original tweet here real quick. But he's, or there, I should say, because I actually don't know their pronouns. They're definitely a Republican leaning, at least center pro cannabis person. And I'm really having a hard time finding this one. And the thing that gets me is like they're always like, oh, like why is like someone was talking about after they had a long week of work and traveling and everything, they just want a nice glass of wine. And I'm like, why are you being an ass about them drinking alcohol? There's this thing called fucking moderation.
Mm-hmm. Everything is within moderation.
Exactly. Alcohol is not inherently evil. What it is, what the evil part is how culture has become around it, and especially in the States with binge drinking and pregame culture.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest issue. If you have a glass of wine every now and again, you're not gonna hurt yourself unless you're really, really like lightweight. But like most of the time, people are not that bad after a glass of wine.
Even wine and beer and stuff has health benefits in
Exactly.
small amounts.
And hell, the monks made like some of the oldest forms of brewing came from the monks and like Catholic monks. Like, so I don't want to hear like there's a religious component behind it either. Because, there are some groups that are like, oh, don't drink because, that's a sin or something like that. The extreme groups.
Whatever the fuck they do.
But
the ones who helped get fucking
prohibition
started.
Yeah.
Those fuckers. The anti-fun people.
The Cannabis Patriot put, why is abortion more important to the left than plant medicine freedom? I responded a couple of times. First one is that I just said it was me here. I think a lot of it is abortion can be life or death, especially with ectopic pregnancies versus cannabis helps lifelong symptoms. While cannabis and other plants can help with MH, mental health, can be life or death, yet politicians are also bought out by corporations / big pharmas. I responded to that because I ran out of characters. But this is my personal guess. I'm not sure why it's like that with politicians, but I wouldn't also call most Democrats leftists. Or more central if you're looking at like global, like how not America's political scale, but how like actual it is. Democrats aren't really the like leftist. Somebody named Blake Jones responded because child sacrifice is an ancient rite for their ilk. And I put, yep, totally, parentheses, sarcasm. Because there was one point someone commented and I responded and they liked it because I don't think they registered that it was sarcasm because I did the \S.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, the left has a depopulation agenda in case anyone hasn't been paying attention. And I said, yep, that's totally what it's about, \S. And they liked it.
Wait, that's what that means? \S is sarcasm. Okay, that's one internet thing that has always went over my head.
And then later, the Cannabis Patriot, I understand why people are passionate about it, but we don't have mass incarceration for abortion prohibition. We don't even have abortion prohibition, which that's a lie.
Yeah.
It's just not federally yet, but it has been attempted.
Mm-hmm.
There's just threats to abortion rights. Meanwhile, we have skyrocketing deaths from fentanyl and alcohol. Crickets. I responded, it is banned with no exception in 13 states, including health issues. So the fear is that it will get there. but we believe that safe access to cannabis and other drugs that help people like psilocybin and the like should be talked about more by every side of our government. And then two people talked about like, how it's actually helped them and everything. You just have to like be kind of in a safe space with clear intentions and don't do it too hard, referring to the psilocybin aspect.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that's what made me make the tweet that I put on our profile that, and I quoted, I actually tagged the Cannabis Patriot. It said, to piggyback off of a tweet that they posted, we at Smoking Out of the Closet believe that the choice to get an abortion and to use cannabis are both deeply personal, and the government should let people decide to get one or use. Like, that's my biggest thing. So a lot of people are like, oh, the left's concerned about abortion. Yes, because you overturned something that was already law and passed by the Supreme Court, and you basically said, nope, we're going to overturn something, even though when you swore in, you said you weren't going to do shit like that and fucking lied under a goddamn oath.
Mm-hmm.
And circling back, and now you guys are like saying that you're not going to take someone's word for swearing in on Superman, but the ones that actually fucking lied to the public and said, no, we're not going to do anything like that. Sorry, this is not a political podcast. I just get very passionate and angry at the fucking government.
No, rightfully so. Rightfully fucking so.
Like a stoner.
You gotta fight the man.
The actor is very problematic, but the character of Hyde from that 70s show has been making me laugh a lot more as I'm in this current stage of my life, because all the shit he says, I'm kind of like, yeah, man. Yeah. Right? Man, no, wait, yeah. Like, I got your three branches of the government: the corporate, the pharmaceutical, and the military.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it was corporate, Hollywood, and the military.
Yeah.
But still, I'm like, man, this week kind of sucked.
Yeah. No.
I was very hesitant. So
you have more of this too. That's the unfortunate part.
Yeah, but they gave us, okay, can we talk about the little side thing as employees in the state of PA real quick? That we get like sample products that we have to pay for, but it's extremely discounted. Kind Trees is the most expensive, the worst fucking flower we get, and they give us a crap ton of it.
Mm-hmm. Why? Why can't you be $1 like everybody else?
Honestly, in my store, do you want to know who the two grower processors that are pulling ahead against anybody in sales right now?
Terrapin.
That's one.
And Strain.
Yep. Terrapin and Strain. Prime is really, really close in a third, but Terrapin and Strain have been the biggest sellers when there's no big sales, obviously, for something.
Mm-hmm.
Because Terrapin's most expensive eighth is now $35.
Yep.
Their terpenes rival that of Cresco sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Strain has decent concentrates and extracts, or vape cartridges.
Yeah, their carts are good.
They just released a live version of Citrus City and GDP.
Oh, fucking yes. I love Citrus City. I wanted to find that fucking PAX pod again, and that is so good.
and they've been the most consistent, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Other than naming conventions, because Terrapin changed their names again. Instead of going abbreviation, they're changing it. Instead of coffee ice cake, it's coffee ice or coffee ice cream CIC. Mm-hmm. It's now coffee ice cream.
Ice scream?
No, coffee.
Coffee.
The letter I. Scream.
Coffee ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
because the DOH has this weird gray area as you're not supposed to make any strains enticing to kids. The same reason why we can't have edibles. So some people just abbreviate them. Some people just abbreviate names because of printing size. Like GDP is Granddaddy Purple because you can't put Granddaddy Purple on a 2-inch wide sticker.
No.
When you have to have every other information on it.
You have to have like a whole fucking paragraph on this 2-inch wide fucking sticker.
It's 2-inch wide by 1.25 inches, and you have to have the batch ID, the package ID, the name of the strain, the weight of the strain, the grower processor's name, the lab results between the cannabinoids and terpenes, and then you also have the dosage, the package by date, the expiration date, and a shipping label, and a barcode to scan it, or a QR code to scan it, which I hate the QR codes because they're so hard to scan with like those little like scan gun things.
And then if it's a curved container, you can't get the fucking QR code to scan.
Or if you rhythm and it's all freaking rubbed off. It looks like we have to go on a break here.
Yeah, we do.
We'll be back after a message of us talking about our affiliate programs.
Hey there, it's Alex from Smoking Out the Closet. We've been so glad to be able to make this podcast for you, and we now have some partners who are happy to help make this podcast happen as well. Our friends over at Da Vinci Vapors have sent us one of their many amazing products, the IQC Dry Herb Vaporizer. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you've heard us talk about Da Vinci, and we've even used the IQC on the show. With a 0.5 gram dry herb chamber, 30-second heat up time, precision temperature control, removable and rechargeable 18650 battery, and an on time of 2 hours, what's not to love about the Da Vinci IQC? Well, what if we told you can get an extra 15% off just for listening to this podcast? That's right, use the code SOTC15 for 15% off at checkout site-wide. Thanks again to our friends over at Da Vinci Vapors, and now, back to the episode.
All right, and we are back. Ugh. Man, I will say this strain's made me very hungry. We just got back from Eaton Park. Now it's sponsored.
Please, though, sponsor us. You've interacted with us on Instagram, and that was so cool.
So the next thing I have is queer stereotypes. I wanted to bring that up because we had a very weed-heavy episode last week. I thought we could have a very LGBTQIA plus heavy episode this week.
Yeah.
So, in recent years, more and more queer representation has made its way to widespread media, songs like and artists like Lil Nas X and other Haley. I was just gonna say Haley K because I can't remember actually how her last name is pronounced or spelled right now, and so on and so for like so many queer artists or artists who are queer coming out. I think like Pink came out not too long ago, and I say like within like the past 5 years, but like so many LGBT musicians, artists, actors.
Sam Smith is non-binary.
Demi Lovato is non-binary, using she they pronouns, which confuses people for some reason. But anyway, like, and then you have like portrayals in like movies and everything. You have the like LGBT books and everything, and then those books get made into a movie, like Love, Simon, Call Me by Your Name, both books, and that turns into a movie, and so on and so forth. But there are a lot of queer stereotypes in a lot of these medias still, especially ones that aren't written or handled with care by queer people. Like they could take a queer book, turn it into a movie, and then rely on queer stereotypes for the movie script. Because like there's 9 times out of 10 the book is different from the movie in a lot of very obvious ways.
Yeah.
And I say 9 times out of 10 because there are sometimes very rare instances where the movie and the book are exactly the same. Like the Secret of NIMH movie.
I feel like Holes is pretty spot on.
Holes is another one that is like literally word for word for the book, because
Yep.
I did that as a kid. I was supposed to read that, and that was one way my mom helped me. She tried doing that with Harry Potter too, but it was too different for me. Was read the book while watching the movie.
Yeah.
But I did put this discussion online, and I'm not going to say names, but I will bring up what they said, just to give the people on Reddit. Nobody on Twitter responded. Some anonymity, because they didn't ask for permission to use their names. First one was the assumption that all ace people are either sex repulsed or will never have sex at all. Obviously, this does apply to some folks, but it's not universal. I have some people addressing it, or I have like seen some people, but it pretty much goes under the radar. As someone on the ace spectrum, it can feel kind of alienating or hard to connect with a community over it. So this is true, and you can chime in on anything at any time.
Okay.
Just so you know. Okay. Because that's true. The biggest thing with asexual and aromantic people is they don't have either sexual attraction or romantic attraction. That's not saying that people who don't have sexual attraction to people don't like sex. There are sex repulsed people, and then there's sex accepting. I can't remember what the one exactly terminology, because I haven't actually talked about it in a while, and I forget since my head injury. But there are sex neutral. I know that for sure. Sex repulsed, sex neutral, and there's a third one. But it's not like the biggest thing is like how you look at me sometimes, put us on blast, and then you look at my butt and you're like, I want to tap that, right, or something.
Yeah.
Stupid. I mean, I'm not saying that you're sexual fit. Just something stupid like that. I'm not saying that's stupid. That's what I mean. Anyway, but like ace people don't have that. They're just like, you're cute. I find you aesthetically pleasing, and I can have romantic feelings for you if they are actual. If they're not ace arrow. But it's not like, oh, I want to just have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And demisexual and demiromantic are on those spectrums, and there's like more nuanced stuff. But in general, from my understanding, and our listeners can correct me if I'm wrong, because I am by no means an expert. Because I have seen on TikTok people who are ace and are spicy content creators with an OnlyFans. Not that it's described to any of their OnlyFans, but I have seen their like little like discussions and everything about being an ace OnlyFans content creator, I guess. I don't know, what would you call it? Like you have TikTok or YouTuber OnlyFanser. I don't know.
OnlyFanner.
But because like some people do like the feeling of having sex and like getting off and everything, and some people are just like, yeah, it's work. I know, like I'm physically meet these traits that people want to spend money for, so I might as well make some money off of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing from my understanding. Another one, and you can kind of chime in on this. The quote is, I mean, we do talk about this, but people don't seem to know how to deal with trans women who don't necessarily need to be super femme. And the screwy thing about it is also people are like, but are you sure it's not just gendered roles, and are the ones who invalidate you for not living up to this stereotype? And I want to add on to that quote there, is not just for trans femme. It's anybody who's transgender or a queer person is supposed to fit in these two little boxes of gender roles and gender norms that has been created in Western society, especially.
The first thing that comes to my mind is like people who are trans, but they are not going to transition, they're not ready to transition, they're not comfortable to, maybe the most they'll do is say, this is how I identify, and that's the end of it. And it doesn't make them any less trans or anything. Like, this society is like, oh, you're trans, well then you have to do this, and this.
Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you have to like get medical, like trans scum or trans medical, which I hate them because they're like the gatekeepers of gatekeeping of the trans community. So they're basically saying like, I have to be, and I did fall into the trap when I first started transitioning, but I was also kind of like, no, I can always be like a woman like my mom. I just want to see how I feel in hyperfemme. And I think it was more of I was going hyperfemme to overcompensate how my body was before hormone therapy. So it made me feel a little better about myself. But a lot of people are like, oh no, you got to do makeup. You can't have a beard. You can't have leg hair. I'm very much like my mom. Oils my eyeliner, or I guess more for me, it's charcoal or water or like paint. Because artist. I wear jeans all the fucking time. I'm a hard pants girl. I wear t-shirts, flannel, leather jackets, combat boots.
You're so fucking cute.
Do I have skirts and dresses? Yes. Do I wear them all the time? Fuck no. Jeans are more easy to get into, and I can actually kick someone's ass if I need to in them.
You can kick someone's ass in a skirt.
Yeah, but I don't want to show the goods for free. Man, have some of your water.
Yeah, absolutely. Here you go.
But like, that's also for like trans men. Like, there's so many people like, oh, like, I've seen this whole like
drink
those comics like the bimbo and the like nerdy or like library girl like whole thing, like that comic, or like real trans man versus fake trans men or trans trenders, which I hate that term.
Yeah.
I was heavily air quoting that, by the way. You can't see it because we don't have video yet, but I was heavily air quoting. Where like it's a trans guy who's had surgery, is on testosterone, you know, and they're fine. You know, they got a patchy beard or a full beard. I can't remember the comic art or anything. I remember at least like the goatee, like the chin strap, I guess. I had facial hair and I can't even remember like what all the styles are. Basically kind of like how I had it in those older pictures of me, but without the mustache.
Okay.
But and then there was like, you know, one that's got like bright pink and blue hair, like it's kind of like frosted tips, except the base is dyed and have like the pink and blue like highlights in the tips. A galaxy binder on like kind of like, not, I wouldn't say like low cut, but a little bit lower jeans with like kind of like the stereotypical emo like spiked checkered belt and boots, nail polish, and saying like, oh, I'm a soft boy and everything. And I'm like, how is that any different? And a lot of people, and this is what's gonna gets me like, I'll get on that topic in a second, but how is that different from if a trans man or a trans masked non-binary person likes wearing femme outfits than a cis guy like wearing femme outfits? Does nothing. It is the fucking same. Because people confuse gender goddamn expression and gender identity a lot. And that's where some of these stereotypes issues come from.
Yes. Absolutely. 100%.
Are there any other stereotypes you can think of? Because I got a couple.
There's always the like flamboyant gay man. Always.
Oh, you're talking about like that one cutaway gag where like Peter's getting all the cutaways for the week left, and he's like, okay, so we need the two gay guys, and the like they're both looking at each other like, you mean us? No, like the really cartoony flamboyant ones. Oh, you mean us?
Yeah, that stereotype I feel like has always been, I don't know, it's always been around as long as I have been in the community.
Yes, because there are a lot of. It's because of the whole effeminate men stereotype that some gays have, and then you have the extreme opposite stereotype because they try acting straight passing as so hard as they can, then you end up with like the lumberjack gay stereotype or the frat boy gay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a gay guy, but like that becomes an issue too. And a lot of it is just let's just let people be who they fucking are,
Yeah.
and not just make generalizations about people. Because the one you were describing is like let me do the American Dad bit. Wearing sandals, well manicured nails, very well taken care of hair, matching outfit, listening to Celine Dion with a Cosmopolitan martini.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one you're kind of referring to?
Yes, that one exactly.
Yeah. But one, I got an email that they commented on the post, but I can't find it. So I kind of get like half of it. So I want to make kind of a guess of what they were referring to from the information I got. That butch lesbians need to always be with a femme lesbian.
Yeah.
That also irks me. It's the whole gender roles that are thrown onto queer people.
Yeah, like who's the
the
man? Nobody, bitch.
Like, are there butches who are in relationships with femmes? Yes. But it's a fucking spectrum. I've seen butch couples. I've seen femme couples. I've seen two chapstick lesbians who are kind of like more in the middle get together. I've seen a butch and a chapstick. I've seen a butch and a what's like a butch version of a himbo. Not like she's not a bimbo, but she's like if Krunk had a sister. Super butch. I mean,
Da-da-da-da.
but like there's so many different relations, and that's like same with like queer men. It's like one's got to be the super like the Chad bro stereotype, and one's got to be super effeminate. Like why?
I have seen so many more effeminate men get with more effeminate men.
Yeah, and it's
like I don't understand where did these come from? Like where?
It's literally us trying to put it's people trying to put cis heteronormativity onto queer people.
Which is bullshit.
Like I've seen so many like yaoi written by women that aren't actually queer or know any queer people where like it's one really buff dude and a twink. And I'm like, why is that a stereotype? Why is that a thing? Why is the twink always the bottom one too? Like I know a gay couple where the like technically they refer to themselves as a bear and an otter, which I don't know if we ever talked about all the different types of gay men or anything on this podcast. We should. But the otter's the top. The otter's the dom. And I think it's the cutest thing ever when they talk to each other because they're such cute pet names.
No.
And I love it. You probably know some non-binary stereotypes. Like you have to be a fucking androgynous all the time.
Yeah. Fucking the non-binary people don't owe you androgyny. We don't owe you anything. But yeah, oh yeah. If you're non-binary, you have to look more like insert quote unquote opposite of assigned gender at birth here to be in the middle. And you have to do...
You have to look like David Bowie crossed with Robert Smith.
All the time.
All the time.
As much as I'd like to, that's not possible.
That is like the most androgynous being I could come up with my frame of reference of like who are super popular and famous.
Yes.
But like, no, I've known some non-binary people that are super femme presenting. I know some that are super masculine presenting. I've known people who are super androgynous. I've known people that have danced up and down that spectrum, all over which way, dancing a little goblin jig the entire way around, just going
Going how?
But like making goblin noises and everything, you know. But like nobody owes you anything. They deserve to live their life. And they deserve to like enjoy it the way they want to and dress the way they want to and feel how they, dress in ways that make them feel comfortable. What's another stereotype? I'm trying to think. I mean, the cosmopolitan is one we kind of already touched on, but not every queer person likes a Cosmo. I've only had it once, and I thought it was super sugary. Did I like it? Yes. Is it a drink I'm going to have every fucking time? No.
The theater gay stereotype.
Oh, yeah. That every
person in theater is queer.
Or every queer has been in theater.
I mean, squares and rectangles. But I will say there are a lot of queer people in theater.
Yes. I mean, we are dating a queer theater kid.
Yeah.
Who grew up. I say a kid, but they're like 2-3 years older than me.
Yeah. But they were.
They were a theater kid, yeah.
Yeah.
That we all know and love show tunes.
Yeah. We all listen to like fucking musicals.
I hate musicals. There's a very small section of musicals I do like and enjoy, but I don't like musicals. I don't like Les Mis. And you know what? Hell, I'll say things that I don't like that are stereotypical that some people have jokingly said they're getting rid of my gay card. I don't like Les Mis. I fucking hate glitter with a passion. I don't know what my other than my birth month, what my signs are. Let's see, what else? I don't get manicures all the time, even though I'm a trans woman. I do eat a lot of pickles, but I was pickle obsessed before the hormone therapy.
That's more of just something that's true, and it became a stereotype just because of the way that spiralactin works.
We're seeking sodium.
Yeah.
And that triggers certain cravings in people. Some it's chips, some it's pretzels, some it's just putting salt in their hand, some it's pickles.
I like salt in my hand.
Pickles are just a nice alternative because they're 0 calories. But I do eat salt out of my hand too. That helps with my headaches. I'm just trying to think of other stereotypes because not a lot of people responded, and there are probably a lot. Drag queen gays.
Yeah.
That every gay is into drag performances. We support it. Not everyone's into it, though. It's an art form. Not everyone's into comic books. You know?
I feel like I met a gay who wasn't super into drag, and I can't remember who it was.
Oh, well, let's bring that up. Drag is for gay men only.
Jeez.
Or to be a drag queen, you have to be a cis gay man.
Yeah. No.
Drag's for everybody.
Drag is for everyone.
It doesn't matter your gender identity, how you present, your sexual orientation. Drag is a performance art form.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other stereotypes. We've come a long way, and I think we're actually the reason why I can't think of any right now.
That bisexuals are easy.
Oh, yeah.
God,
But bisexuals, non-binary people, and pansexuals are just doing it for attention.
Or we're all confused.
Oh, my God. You know what I'm confused about? The state of our fucking government. You know what I'm confused about? How to fucking, the sun works.
You know what I'm not confused about? Who I want to fucking sleep with.
And who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the gold star gay.
Oh, God.
Thing. This is also just kind of an issue in the community, but the fact that you're not truly gay if you've been with a woman. at least once. Or in some cases, just someone with like a vagina or something like that, because they exclude trans men sometimes, which fuck you. Not having that transphobia in my community.
No.
I'm just trying to think, like, what all there is, because there's so many, and it's gotten so much better over the years. But we probably should bring up some of the really, really, really negative ones that are being kind of thrown onto us by Republicans and conservatives in general, I should say. Seen it a lot in movies with Silence of the Lamb being a big example. That and there's like a crap ton of movies. That's just the one I can bring up off the top of my head. That queer people are violent and murderers.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that as much lately.
That's good. I'm so glad we're not seeing that much anymore.
The last one I think was like 1990s or early 2000 range, like very early odds, like before 2005. That we're riddled with disease because of the AIDS epidemic. And that gets me still with like the Red Cross and everything.
Fucking hate the Red Cross.
Like anybody can get AIDS, just like anybody can get monkeypox. There's very certain conditions that queer people tend to statistically get it a little more. But that's like shark bites, and I've done this analogy before. That's like people getting bit by sharks in Florida and people getting bit by sharks in like Maine. Yes, sharks go up that north. But statistically, there's more people and more water, warmer water. So the sharks tend to go there and breed and be more active. They're not as lethargic as they are in colder water, so they tend to bite a little more. It's not that sharks are attracted to Florida people. It's just that's like the same. That's like the same like mentality, like the thought process behind it.
Sharks are attracted to Florida people. Oh my god. Florida man marries shark.
Oh god, no, shut up. What's some other ones that are really bad? Oh, that were groomers and pedos.
Ugh, gross.
Statistically, no, we see that more in actually, straight people, quote unquote.
I thought you were gonna say Catholics. That too.
I mean, yeah. But more often than not, like with like the bathroom bans and all the like things like, oh, trans people are going to come in, or the people who are saying like, no, I'm accepting. I just don't want someone to present as a trans person and then go into the bathroom. More often than not, it's a person that's already allowed to go into that bathroom to begin with, statistically. So I mean,
why are we saying who should be allowed in the bathroom anyway? People just need to fucking pee.
Yeah, that TikTok we saw earlier, there should be a bathroom for pooping and a bathroom for just pee.
Yeah, it shouldn't, not gender, doesn't matter. You know how comfortable you would be pooping in public if you knew this room was just for pooping?
I can't remember his name. He was the kid that played Colt in 3 Ninja and also was the red Power Ranger when they got turned into kids, I think. Or the blue one. I can't remember which one. But yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Power Rangers, and he's a professional MMA fighter. But he has a point there. Man, what's another stereotype? Oh, that all butch women are really good with tools. I don't know where that stereotype. And you made fun of me calling one once because I put my drill in my purse.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
But like that's a stereotype I don't get for what. Probably because typically more masculine women have worked in a lot of industries and everything, and a lot of them who just happen to be queer because there was no man of the house during these eras, so one of them had to go into work.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's kind of like the same way the Carabiner Code started.
Yeah.
But like, not all of them are good with tools. I know one that's like really great. She's an awesome artist. You give her a screwdriver and she ends up taking your plumbing apart somehow that you need a monkey wrench for. like, how? I don't know. How? It's not even the right tool. You were just supposed to put a screw in the wall. It is obviously an exaggeration.
Obviously, very big exaggeration.
Queer people are great cooks.
Yeah. Or that they dress well.
Or they dress well. Or they know how to do hair well. Like, oh, all male hairdressers are gay.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? We could just break that down to its bare minimum. Any blank that's stereotypically this gendered job is gay. That's it. That's the formula for that one.
Yeah.
Male nurse, gay.
Male cheerleader,
Gay. A woman in construction, gay. Man in theater, gay. Woman who's an expert rifleman, gay. Woman hunter, gay. Like that is the issue, is you assign a job or an activity with a gender role, and you have someone that is not that gender stereotypical, like that fixed gender, quote unquote fixed gender, they're automatically assigned as queer.
Which, why are we assigning gender roles to just fucking jobs and
I don't
shit
know.
anyway? What is the... We put genders on shit that don't need fucking genders.
We're getting close. Do you want to do a little extra to wrap up on that thought?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just don't need to assign genders to shit that just don't need fucking genders. Period, point blank. End of the line.
No, I totally agree on that. We have and that's, I think, where we break down a lot of, not all, but some of these genders is expectation of a gender role, not the gender that we assign to this role. They're queer somehow. Oh, man, what's another? If you give a boy a baby doll or Barbies or a little kitchenette set, he's going to turn gay. No?
I played with fucking... Listen, then why didn't the reverse happen with me? I was a socialized as female person who played with dolls. Why am I not straight, huh?
I don't know.
Huh?
It's dumb. You know what? Giving any kid a doll to play as a parent, guess what? They're gonna have better skills of being a parent and not be an asshole. Like some parents I know, like my father, or my sperm donor is what I call him, because the man I call dad, who's raised me since I was 2, that's my dad. Not that shitheel that I have DNA shared with. Oh, because of the TikTok sound. Every queer person doesn't have a loving relationship with their family, like their actual biological family. I'm thinking of the TikTok sound from Metalocalypse. Oh, I get it. You're all without fathers. Not me. I fucking love my dad. But
I represent that stereotype. The horrible relationship.
There
with your father.
Statistically a very, if you take it proportional of basically people who are LGBT versus people who are not LGBT and having bad relationships with families, there's a greater number of ratio.
Mm-hmm.
But not all of them. I mean, you and me are opposites like that. You kind of do. I mean, yeah, you do.
I was like, what the fuck do you mean, kind of?
I was gonna say because you're not fully out to them.
Yeah, well, I still have issues with them because of that.
True.
But I just have issues with them, point blank, period.
But my family is the opposite. Mine are very caring, very welcoming, very accepting. My mom's only expectation for either me and my sister was for us to be healthy and happy. And sometimes we can't control the first one, but we try,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the way it should be. But I I hate the whole, like, a lot of it's just broken down into just this stupid gender thing is this gender thing, and people who are doing this gender thing is not gendered right.
Gender is just a societal construct, and it's bullshit. Just be your own person, do what you want to do, and don't lower your fucking expectations, society.
Mhm.
Just lower them.
March to the beat of your own drum.
Yes.
Oh, this one's kind of funny, and just because it's you and me, there is a TikTok sound that I feel is becoming a stereotype in a jokingly way for the community. If you have one stuffed Pokemon toy in your bedroom, you're gay.
Oh, the shark from IKEA.
Okay. You're talking about the Bellage. I actually know how that started.
How did it start? Because I don't know how that started.
So, on a subreddit, not sure which one, long ago, a lot of LGBT people happen to have. Oh no! IKEA made a Pride poster, and it had the Bellage on it, so it was like, oh, it's an ally or it's queer and everything. And then somebody eventually noted that all the colors that are in that thing are literally like a shade or two different than the trans Pride colors. So it started becoming like a trans icon, and then it just became a lot of it like, oh, this is a soft toy I can cuddle when I'm sad and everything. And now it's mine. And I would say that I'm not a part of that stereotype, but I do kind of want one. And the last time I went to IKEA, not with the family, but when it was just like you, me, and Mia,
Yeah.
I let another trans girl get the last one.
Aww.
Because I saw it, I saw how fragile she looked. I'm like, you don't have anyone. You need something to hold.
Aww.
You need something to make you feel loved and safe. You take it.
Aww. Well, we need to go back to IKEA so you can get one.
No, I want the big whale now. I want the whale that I could just stuff myself in its mouth. Just be like, I have been attacked by this whale shark. I'm trying to think of like ones that are cannabis related, and I can't, like, cannabis queers, and I can't really think of one.
There really aren't any.
No, not really, because we're so underrepresented in a culture that is basically dude bro.
Yeah.
That being said, I will also make a note to wrap up the episode. We say queer a lot. We refer to ourselves as queer and everything, and a lot of older LGBTQIA plus people aren't comfortable with that because back then, queer was being an insult.
We're reclaiming it.
A lot of people have reclaimed it, and honestly, when I was growing up in the late 90s and early 2000s, being called gay was the insult.
Yeah.
So, can't weaponize a word if I identify with that, but I think that's also we're taking the power back, like you said.
I identify as queer.
Is there anything you want to add or make notes of?
I don't think so.
Okay. To kind of wrap up the episode, I do want to talk about where you guys can find us. Because I know we usually share that we are either on Anchor or Spotify because Anchor is the host that we use and record through, but we are on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Good Pod, which is like a good podcast app, Audible. We're on Amazon Music or Amazon's podcast. I don't know. You literally tell the AI in a box that Jeff Bezos owns.
Hey, Clay, smoking out the closet. We are not going to say that because there is one in this room right now.
Oh wait, but we can say Alexa.
Yeah.
Because that one's set to the other name.
I hope nobody's listening to this on their speaker. Because then you just triggered it.
Sorry. We call it the Faceless Owned Woman. It's kind of a reference to Night Vale. But in that sense, anywhere you listen to your podcast, we are there. You can find interact with us on Twitter. I put it in our show notes every week, but we're on Twitter at Smoking Out Pod. We're on Instagram at Smoking Out the Closet. We're on YouTube out Smoking Out the Closet, which I'm slowly making transcript vids for our podcast on there. Thanks to Descript, not sponsored. We're on TikTok as at Smoking Out the Closet. Pretty much, if you just Google at Smoking Out the Closet, we're on pretty much every,
we're on all the
social
things.
medias. We're on Mastodon, which I'm not 200% how to work on. We're on Buddy Jane. We were on Canabuzz, but then Canabuzz started enacting a subscription thing to use, and I'm like, I'm not doing that right now. Maybe when we get bigger, I'll return to Canabuzz, but not right now. But yeah, I think we've had a decent episode. Went a little longer, but what are you doing?
I found a cat underneath your blanket.
I told you the cat was under there.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think that's about everything.
Yeah. Once again, I'm Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Alex. I use they, them pronouns.
And this has been Smoking Out the Closet. You didn't do the thing.
I'm sorry.
Do you want to do the thing?
No.
Okay.
It's okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Rayven here. I just wanted to make a little ad for our Patreon that we started. First and foremost, all the funds generated with this Patreon is going to go directly back into the podcast, whether that's better equipment so we can make better sounding episodes, give you guys really cool stuff like stickers, pictures, nice little trinkets from us, or be able to travel to places where there is legal weed or there's certain LGBT communities that we want to interact with and talk to, and potentially have some really cool guests come on the show. Now, right now our Patreon is bare bones, and I do apologize with that, but we hope to make it a little better as time goes on. Right now we have 3 tiers: flower, vape cartridges, and concentrates. Flower is $3 per month. Vapes is $6 per month, and concentrates is $9 per month. With flower, you get access to our Discord, the Scuttle Zone, a private Discord that we have for you guys to kind of interact with each other and potentially interact with us. We have things for different aspects of the cannabis community and LGBT community where you guys can talk to and kind of just interact with each other and learn from each other, and learn with us. But you also get early access to these episodes. You get a day or two, basically immediately after I'm done editing the episode, I am putting it on the Patreon so you guys can listen to it early. With vape, you have everything from the flower, but you also have access to the private chat room in the Discord server for one-on-one discussions and questions for us. You'll have the ability to basically be, hey, I have a question about this certain thing, and we'll answer it at the end of every episode. We won't get to everyone all at the same time, obviously, but we'll spread it out through the month and be able to get to as many questions as we can. And then with the concentrates, you get everything from flower and vape, but you also get behind the scenes looks at what we do here. I'll show what I'm editing and maybe little sound files or little clips of what we're working on. Our show notes, so you get to see that early, potentially, knowing what topics we're going to be talking about on this next episode. Pictures of stuff in and outside of the recording stuff, things like cannabis festivals. We'll take pictures and post some of them online, but with the behind the scenes access, you get to see all of that. Basically, all the dumb faces we make at each other, all the cool stuff that we see, and all the cute things that we find. It's my hope with this Patreon that we'll be able to go far and wide and hopefully be able to see some of you guys or have some live shows in the future where you guys can come and interact with us. And obviously no pressure. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of this, and first and foremost, take care of you guys yourselves. If you don't have money to support it, or if something happens, you have to stop, we totally understand. Thanks.